Welcome to Caucus Night. Thank you for attending. Tonight, you will participate in the most grassroots form of self-government. The caucus system allows you, as neighbors, to come together, discuss issues, learn about your community, and elect those who best reflect your values to represent you. This is democracy in action. Democracy is a loaded word in today's lexicon. Most people feel a reverence for the term. Democracy is seen by many as the sacred ability to govern ourselves. Or another way to put it is control of an organization or group by the majority of its members. However, a pure democracy is really just mob rule. Whatever the majority of voters want, that is what the entire society gets. Cooler heads don't necessarily prevail. The United States of America is not a pure democracy. Our founding fathers saw a pure democracy as a state of chaos. They designed our government as a constitutional republic, a form of government in which citizens have the right to elect their leaders, and those leaders are responsible for upholding the fundamental laws of the land. We understand that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, but let's talk a little more about Republican government. In Republican forms of government, large groups of people elect small groups of people to represent them. The caucus system is the epitome of Republican government. It is the definition of grassroots efforts. At your caucus meeting, you will meet together with your neighbors to elect people you personally know to represent you. Tonight, you will elect precinct leadership, a chair, a vice chair, and a secretary/treasurer. The chair and vice chair will run the next caucus meeting. They are responsible to preside over the voting precinct and direct programs in that precinct to help get Republican voters to the polls. For example, the county party currently has a voter roll cleanup committee that chairs and vice chairs, and anyone else who wishes to volunteer, has been asked to be on. Committee members have access to the list of registered Republicans in their precinct. They can review this list to make sure it is accurate. If there is an error, we have a page for them to submit the problem to the county clerk. If someone is missing from that list, the chair and vice chair can help that person register to vote. The chair and vice chair also serve as members of the County Central Committee. The County Central Committee is the governing body of the County Republican Party. Whenever the party has business it needs to conduct, a meeting of the CCC is called. This business could be making changes to our party constitution and bylaws, or filling empty seats left by elected Republicans who leave their positions for whatever reason. Precinct leaders ensure all collected donations to the party be turned into the County Party Executive Committee. Precinct leaders may not declare support for candidates who are members of rival political parties. You can publicly endorse a specific Republican candidate in the primary election, but you are not allowed in any way to endorse a non-Republican. Precinct chairs appoint replacement delegates or precinct officers when necessary. Occasionally, delegates will move, go on missions, or will simply have a scheduling conflict and won't be able to attend the required convention. In those cases, the precinct chair will appoint anyone he or she chooses that is qualified to serve in that position. Tonight, you will also elect state and county delegates. What do delegates do? State and county delegates do the same job, but on a different scale. County delegates vet Republican candidates in local county races, such as county commissioner, county assessor, auditor, recorder, and treasurer. This doesn't seem like a lot, but it really is. You are the person who the candidates are campaigning to. Every single candidate will work hard to earn your vote. Be prepared to take a lot of phone calls, attend many meet and greets, and have your mailbox full of political flyers. County delegates must attend the county convention held on April 11, 2024 at Canyon View High School to vote for the candidates to become the Republican Party nominee in their respective races. Next year, County delegates will be responsible to vet Republican candidates for county party races, such as county party chair, vice chair, secretary, treasurer, and at-large delegates. County delegates attend the county convention held in 2025 to vote for candidates to serve as Iron County Republican Party leadership. As mentioned before, state delegates have similar responsibility to county delegates. State delegates are responsible to vet Republican candidates in statewide races, such as U.S. Senate, U.S. House, Governor, Attorney General, State Auditor, and Treasurer. State delegates are also responsible to vet Republican candidates in multi-county races, such as State Senate and State House. For instance, Representative Shipp's district is entirely in Iron County, so he is nominated at the county convention by county delegates. However, Senator Vickers and Representative Albrecht's districts are in multiple counties, so they are nominated by state delegates in a breakout session at the state convention. State delegates are required to attend the state convention held this year on April 27, 2024, at the Salt Palace in Salt Lake City. There they will vote for candidates to become the Republican Party nominee in their respective races. Delegates are responsible to cover the costs of their service. Any travel or lodging expenses will not be covered by the party. Next year, state delegates will be required to vet Republican candidates for state party races, such as state party chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. They will need to attend the state convention held in 2025 to vote for candidates to serve as Utah Republican Party state leadership. Two frequently asked questions at Caucus Night are, can someone serve in more than one position? Yes! If you have been elected as precinct chair, you may also run as state delegate or county delegate. The only two positions that you may not hold are chair and vice chair. A second commonly asked question at Caucus Night is, are precinct leaders automatic delegates? No, absolutely not. If a chair or vice chair or other precinct officer wants to be a delegate, he or she can run for that position, but they are not automatically given it. If this is happening in your precinct, please report it to a member of the Iron County Executive Party. That's the basics of the caucus system. It can be a lot to take in at once, and the benefits of it may not be obvious. Let's take a candidate through the process to get a full view. This is Jane. Jane wants to run for county clerk. The first step is to register with the county clerk's office. The next step is to start campaigning. Without political parties, Jane would want to talk to every voter in the county, so just 35,300 people. Jane is a Republican, and the county clerk's race is a partisan race, so Jane actually just needs to contact every Republican. That's just 22,330 people. Well, luckily we have the caucus system to work through. Those 22,330 people have had the opportunity to meet with their neighbors and elect delegates to represent them. Now Jane just needs to contact these 306 delegates. This is a much more doable task. Jane should be able to make the time to have at least a small amount of communication with each delegate, and the delegates will have a much better chance of getting a piece of Jane's time if they seek her out. Jane doesn't have a ton of money to spend on her campaign, so campaigning to only these 306 delegates is possible for her. Now that Jane is done campaigning, she and her opponents, John and Judy, go to convention. There are two possible outcomes from convention. The best outcome for Jane would be to win at convention. The threshold to win at convention is 2/3. Jane gets over 2/3 of the delegates' votes. She is the Republican nominee for county clerk. She moves directly on to the general election in November. The other outcome that keeps Jane in the race for county clerk is if no one wins at convention. Neither Jane nor her opponents John and Judy received 2/3 of the delegates' votes, so Jane and her closest opponent John go to a primary election. Now Jane and John are forced to campaign to all 22,330 registered Republicans in the county, not just the 306 county delegates. Needless to say, this election just became very expensive. After spending a lot of time and money, Jane wins the primary election. She goes on to the general election in November as the Republican nominee for county clerk. These two outcomes used to be the only way candidates could get on the general election ballot. But then the state legislature threw a wrench in the works. SB 54 made it possible for candidate Judy, the candidate with the lowest vote total at convention, and candidate John to collect signatures and force Jane into a primary, even if she won the convention. Or Judy can collect signatures and add herself into the primary that was already happening because there was no winner at convention. If Jane won at convention, she's still the Republican nominee for county clerk in the primary election, but there will be other unofficial Republicans on the primary ballot. SB 54 makes the process much less effective and efficient. The Republican Party encourages all legislators to repeal SB 54. If you made it through that, you deserve a round of applause. It's a complicated but very important system. Now that we've reviewed how the process works, let's talk about how caucus will work tonight. Only registered Republicans can participate in the caucus meeting. The meetings are open to the public, but only qualified Republicans can vote and run for positions. If you check your voter registration status and see that you are unaffiliated, you may register as a Republican and participate. But if you are a registered member of another party, you cannot change your registration status. The legal deadline for party affiliation changes has passed. You can find your voter registration status by going to vote.utah.gov, clicking on Find My Voter Registration Info, filling out your personal information, and clicking Submit. Please remember your voting precinct name or number. Next, you want to make sure that you are in the right place. Most of our precincts are meeting at Cedar High School and Canyon View Middle School, but outlying areas may have different locations. You can find your precinct location by going to ironcountygop.org, click Learn More, and scroll down. We've remembered our precinct number from when we checked our voter registration. We find that on the menu on the side. Click your precinct and verify that you are at the right location. New this year is pre-registration. Every participant must pre-register. If you have not pre-registered, please do so now. You can pre-register from ironcountygop.org and clicking on the Pre-Register for Caucus Night button. You can also pre-register at utgop.org and click on Pre-Register for Caucus. Most of us don't know our Utah State voter ID, so we'll need to click on Find My Voter Registration Info. Fill out your personal information, including your birthday, scroll down and click Fetch My Details. This will present you with your voter registration information. You will need to add your email address and your phone number. Then click Submit. This is your credential to participate tonight. Please keep that available for when you go to your individual precincts. This credential will also be emailed to you. Your precinct host will check your pre-registration credential with your ID to ensure that you are qualified to participate. If you are having trouble pre-registering, please find the help desk at your location. Please familiarize yourself with the positions for which you will be voting tonight. There are more resources on our website, ironcountygop.org. We hope that you brought a friend. We also hope that you brought your teenagers. It's so great for them to see the process so they will be comfortable participating when they are 18. Those who will turn 18 before the general election are eligible to participate tonight. This year, precinct meetings will be held in more central locations. This should help attendees get to the right place, facilitate pre-registration, and help keep our precinct meetings more uniform. All precinct meetings should look the same. They should sound and feel the same. At Cedar High and Canyon View, you will come in, make sure you're in the right location, and that you are pre-registered. Then everyone will congregate in the auditorium. The meeting will be called to order right at 7 p.m. No matter your location, the meeting will begin with a prayer, pledge, reading of the party platform, and a review of the caucus rules. Then, caucus goers will be dismissed to check in at their individual precinct meetings with your precinct hosts. Please have your pre-registration and ID ready. Don't forget to sign the sign-in sheet. The first item of business will be a presidential preference poll. The Republican Party will not host a presidential primary this year. Your opportunity to vote for which Republican candidate you prefer for president will happen at your caucus meeting. This poll will open at 7 p.m. and will not close before 8 p.m. Then you will hold your precinct elections. You'll begin by electing county and state delegates. Then you will elect new precinct leaders, the chair, a vice chair, and a secretary or treasurer. Monetary donations will be collected throughout the night. We appreciate your support. It costs the party money to facilitate Caucus Night. We can't do this without your support. Finally, the results of the presidential preference poll in your precinct will be announced as the last item of business. We hope that through this presentation you've gained a greater understanding of the workings and the importance of the caucus system. It really is the purest form of grassroots republicanism. Our founding fathers designed our country so that any qualified person should be able to run for office, no matter their political connections or size of their bank account. The caucus system ensures those principles. Once again, thank you for attending.